This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles, on the Rockstar Radio Network. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and the Book Shepherd on the Rockstar Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, top of the day to all of you, and it's actually a fabulous day. I'm in Denver as we broadcast today. My guest is we have two guests that are in different states, so we're all over the United States. And yesterday, where it was 22 degrees, we now have a fabulous 60. It's Colorado, as we say here. And there's just a lot going on in the publishing community. For example, we've got the extravaganza that's starting to pick up in here at the mothership for Author You. And we've got people coming in from Mexico, from Alaska, Washington, multiple states, lots here in Colorado. But if you are serious about your book, and even if it hasn't been written yet, if you are serious about really being successful at when it comes out of the gate, you want to be in Colorado, in Denver, May 3rd through 5th. We have amazing people coming in to present. John Kramer is going to be doing a knock your socks off marketing workshop, dinner workshop on May 3rd. The first half will be dedicated to ebooks. The second part to traditional books, and then we're going to move into from mobile marketing, from some crazy wild things that no one even thought about doing with Kindle. There is going to be a series of activities that will literally soar your book strategies and marketing and thinking and rethinking into the book stratosphere. So if that sounds like something you might like, you want to go to the authoru.org website right now. As you listen, we'll let you do it too, because we're all multitaskers, and sign up for the extravaganza, or at least do it afterwards, because it's going to change your book life. Now, another thing that will change your book life is getting it out in front of the media, and there's all types of different forms. Now, we are going to be talking about traditional media at the extravaganza. We're going to be talking about E-type media. We're going to talk about variations. But with us today, I have a very special guest, and Stephanie Barko is literally a literary publicist. Now, she works with award-winning clients, both from New York publishers. As authors, she works for small and independent presses, and she is really savvy on what works and what doesn't work. She's got expertise in fiction as well as nonfiction, spirituality, memoirs, biography, how-to, you name it. Stephanie has walked the path with these authors, and she's spoken at a variety of industries as the guru to talk to, and today she is going to be our guru to the Author You and the Book Shepherd community and everyone who tunes in to Your Guide to Book Publishing. So I'm going to welcome her. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Judith. Great to be here with you.
Oh, we are so thrilled to have you. I remember when I did my very first book, which was in 1981, and St. Martin's Press was my publisher. And that was the good old days when they actually supported an author. And their marketing people actually went out to promote your book specifically instead of a whole bookload of them, and hoping that anybody would hit in the Velcro method. And one of the things that I did at the same time, and I think it really did support and make my book successful, because I enjoyed 3 printings in the first 3 weeks and landed on Good Morning America, is I actually hired my own publicist, which is the hat and the realm that you deliver to your authors, correct?
Yes, I do work with traditional media, but I do a lot of work online as well.
Well, which is where we all are.
That's where we all are. That's where we find our experts. So if you're a nonfiction author, you've got to know how to work it online.
Well, let's set this up a little bit, Stephanie. Tell us how you got started in publishing. I'm sure you didn't wake up one day when you were 5 years old and say, oh, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up, a book publicist.
Actually, I didn't, but it wasn't too far from when I woke up as a baby because they say, as they say, girls at 12 are on their true north. They know exactly who they are and where they're going. What happened to me is I'm a high-tech dropout, so I left the semiconductor industry in 2005 and took a year off. And during that year, I went back to what really turned my clock when I was 12. And one of those things was writing. So I got into all these different writing groups here in Austin, and in one of them was a local editor, a book editor, and she began sending me her clients. It seemed like an odd thing for her to do, and I asked her why she did that, and she said, because everybody else here is writing and looking at how they can improve their craft, and what you do is you go around to each person and find out how you can vault their work as far out into the public as possible. And she said, that is not what writers do. That is what publicists do.
Yeah, that is true.
That's how it started. And I've always been a marketer and a networker, so it really is my core being.
Well, and you know what you bring to the party here, which is, I think, so critical, Stephanie, is that if authors, I just had this conversation, I had a lunch meeting with an author who really did some amazing things to help underwrite his book, but the other side of it is that what he didn't want to do now was all the book work to market it, and which is also very typical of most authors. They said, I just want to write, just let me write. And they forget that 5% is the writing, 95% is birthing the book and really getting out there. So what you bring that's so fabulous to this party is you've got this tech background.
I do, and it works out really well in today's publishing industry.
It's critical. It is the and actually I think it's the gift from the book gods, because that if you are introverted, you can just stay at home and do a heck of a lot in your jammies if that's what you want to do. I mean, I like to mix it up. But I just think that what our listeners, I want them to understand what a treat you bring to the party with that. So let's jump into some of those things that bring it along. So you come from that tech area. You had that aha moment when you were in the 12, when you went back to 12. So you do a variety of things. And before we get into some real how-tos, why don't you go ahead and tell what you do as a book publicist?
I market professionally edited nonfiction and historical fiction for publishers and authors who are within 1 year of their release date. And as you have previously mentioned, I accept both traditionally and independently published authors. And the way I do that, as you do, depends entirely on the material. So you start with the material. Every book is different. Every author is different. And you create a platform that shows the author and the public a forum and a following for that book, those topics and issues, in its first year of life. So my definition of platform is a little broader than most, and within that platform, usually a lead element falls out.
Yeah, well, you're going to probably have me add on to that, since I just finished writing a book about creating a platform. So
yes, I know you're a platform expert, so I know you know what I'm talking about. But what you do as a publicist is you execute the platform. So you take every element, like the endorsements, the reviews, the media kit elements, all the media that you're going to, your targets, your third-party opportunities like awards, contests, conferences, fairs, tours, your special audiences, your personal media list. All of that, I take that and I execute it. I make it happen for the author and with the author. It's interesting that you mentioned that authors can hang out in their jammies and work on their computer. Well, they can a lot. It's so interesting to me. I actually wrote an article just a couple of months ago about the 4 things that authors need to do themselves, and it was kind of a silly little article in a way, but it really made me think. What are the things that authors absolutely have to do themselves? And there's not that many things. They can delegate a lot of stuff out and get to writing the rest of that series, get to writing their next book. And that's where their time is best spent. They have the talent to write.
And that is really what they, especially our fiction writers, it's much more in the fiction realm. So when you're working with what you call your historical fiction, that I think that, and I'm working with a client right now thinking she would be ideal to refer to you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's up at the top of my list. I just made a note.
Wow. Thanks.
To do that. And you know what I want to say for our listeners, you're listening to, my guest today is Stephanie Barko, and she actually had a fabulous nomination where she was nominated by her peers in 2010 as the Book Publicist of the Year, and last year she came away with she was voted the Preditors and Editors Best Book Promotion Service. So that's pretty hot, Stephanie.
Yeah, Preditors and Editors, for those of you who do not know about them, Preditors and Editors is our industry watchdog. So whenever you want to vet an agent or a publisher or a marketer, any type of publishing service that you're not sure of their integrity, you can check it on Preditors and Editors. And if they have a listing, you can find out whether it's good, bad, or not. Sometimes not everybody is listed, but if you find a listing there, it can be very useful to you, especially if you're looking for a publisher. You want to vet them on Preditors and Editors first.
Oh yeah, because there is a backlist, and we need to say for our listeners, it's spelled like predators, predator, Preditors, not predators.
Right.
Because I have written several columns about the publishing predators out there who are the Jurassic Park bad people. So and they're out
and we
there.
need to know who they are so that we not get involved with them.
Well, I think it's important to name names. I mean, I do that. All right, so we have about 30 seconds before our break, but here's what I want to do that, and maybe you can touch on it briefly, but let's talk about what audience the authors most frequently overlook, and maybe you can kiss on it right now. When we come back from our sponsor break, we can then really go into it.
The audience that authors most frequently overlook is their own following. I cannot tell you how many authors are always focused on how they're going to find readers. They don't think about their blog following. They don't think about the people they're interfacing with on Facebook.
All right, so we're going to come back and we'll pick up on blog followings and your tribe and crowd. This is Judith Briles, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Change the way you publish online. WaveCloud is a new forum for authors to manage all their books' information in one place from start to finish, including pricing and listing summary. To learn more or sign up for email updates, visit wavecloud.com.
Every picture tells a story. and it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Hi there. Well, I get so sometimes wrapped up because I always talk to my guests off the air that I forget that we come back. So we're back. And we left the transition where we were talking about that authors, the single best thing they need to do is build their crowd. And of course, one of the things, which I had quite a dialogue with one of my book shepherding clients yesterday, we spent 3 hours on the development because he's getting ready for his book launch that's going to happen within 2 months, is that it's so imperative to expand their own personal crowd, tribe, I don't care what you call it, but this is where their platform is. And who knows you, baby? It's where you're going to get the love. So let's talk about that, Stephanie. And with me this hour is Stephanie Barko, who just happened to grab the top honors last year of being the Preditors and Editors Best Book Promotion Service. So where, Stephanie, should they go in developing all of this?
Well, we talked a little bit about audience, and I say look at your current following, because authors tend to not look at that. They tend to overlook it and look out and go, oh my God, who's going to read my book? Well, you already have readers. Look at your blog, look at your following there, make a database of that. You have your Outlook personal email list. That's another following. You want to get all that together in one list, database it so that you have it by city. Then here's another way you can use your current readership that you are overlooking. When you go out, let's say you go on vacation and you're going to Los Angeles on your way to Hawaii, and you want to do a book event in Los Angeles before you go over the pond. What you do is you get out your little database of everybody you know and everybody who's reading your book or has a to-read clicked on it, say at Goodreads, and you look at those people by city, and you say, okay, who's in L.A.? And you tell them you're coming. Most authors don't think to do this. When you're going to another city for any reason whatsoever, you need to get in touch with their readers there, with your own reader base there. They will fall at your feet if you let them know you're coming, because they think you're a god and they want to touch your cloth of your arm and be with you. And, if they could get your signature, please, in all their books, well, then they'll just buy everything you have. So what you want to do is make yourself available, because they think authors are up in the sky somewhere because they don't know how to write. They can't even spell, so they think you're really cool. So you need to make yourself accessible. Come down from heaven and be in their presence. They will love you for it.
So drill down. So look at whether it's Outlook or whatever platform you do to collect all your emails. Go into your blog, go into your Facebook, go into your Twitter, go into your Google+, go into Goodreads. Go into LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Who did we miss? Who did we miss?
Library Thing. It's not used as much, but there's Library Thing. Every place you collect people, you want Twitter, all those folks, spiritual networks. If you're writing something in the spiritual zone, and get them together, find out where they live, start databasing them.
Let me share you what I'm working with a wonderful rabbi who I love, and his book is just ready to go to print now. We've all done all the tweaking, done, and he's written the Kabbalistic journey from religion to spirituality to mysticism. Now, my dear friend Rabbi Joseph Schultz happens to be 80. But he is literally setting up his fall speaking tour. He's got Chicago set up, Stephanie. He has got Kansas set up, and he has got Orange County in California. And he is systematically going through, and he has reached out because of Judaism, and those he has got study groups coming in to play with him. And I talked with Joe, and I said, hey, why don't we talk about doing like a free Skype before you come in? Why don't we do something with them to let them know what your essence is, so they will just fawn on you when they come?
Absolutely. Warm up the crowd. I'm all for it. Skype is hip.
Yeah. So, and also what Stephanie's talking about is reaching out. You can do kind of like a little a Skype thing with a book club or a readers club to let them know you're coming, to just kind of pepper it a little bit, and then you're there. So we've got that. All right, Stephanie, I have a question for you, because we're talking about book publicists. Is there a time that you shouldn't use one, or you don't need one?
Well, I think if you're a one-book wonder and you have a message you're going to get out, you just want to do one book, and you want to really get that message out yourself, and you're good at it. Let's say you like to speak, you are comfortable in front of a crowd, you're articulate, you're entertaining, you're funny, then go for it. And if you're halfway organized, I think you can probably promote the book yourself, especially in person. You have to be good online too. I think it's important to have both skills. But I have seen authors do very well. I also have authors who are very good in person who hire me because they want somebody, they may be good at traveling and promoting the book themselves, but they also need somebody who's always pushing forward, working ahead of them, doing advance, working online, collating things, coming up with ideas they would not have thought of. I have authors who are real good in person and real lousy online, and they really don't have any interest in being good online. And that's okay, because they're great in person.
Mm-hmm. You had brought up a point earlier when we were chatting about how some of the small press, independent press, self-published authors who decide that they want to venture out in seeking some publicity, they may have a hard time getting around the mainstream press. You had a few tips on some tips and secrets on how to do that. You want to share those?
Yeah, so, as you know, you never pitch your book if you're trying to get in major media. What you want to do is work around your message. You don't pitch the book itself. You work around the message. So what I would offer instead, if I had an independently published author and I was trying to get him, say, in a newspaper, I would not, first of all, I would not go for a book review. You're not going to get it. What you want to do is you want to work on a feature.
I agree with you.
Yeah, or you want to offer a ready-made article that the newspaper does not have to pay for, that they can run when they have space. Or you want to offer, if you're a nonfiction author, you want to offer an expert article that talks about your issue or topic, and hopefully it's germane to the day. So current news, for instance, that it ties into current news, and then just do it for the byline. Maybe you have a quote in it, maybe you don't, but you just do it for the byline with your website, your URL.
And what we're talking about in byline, that's not going to be at the top of the article. We're talking about what I think a lot of the author community knows their signatures. Yeah. So at the very end, and always make sure, they could edit it. You can't control what they do.
You cannot.
But make sure you do have your website, make sure you do have the name of your books, make sure that you do have your phone number, email, and if you want to put in a special line about, maybe you have a special coupon or something, add it all, and who knows, they might print it all.
Yeah, and this is media. This is not article syndication, which is a little different. You can do a lot more with your byline, with your bio at the end in article syndication, but in major media where you're really competing, really hard competing with everybody else. then just try to get your URL in there.
Is there any audience that an author might typically overlook that is one of those ahas?
An aha audience.
Uh-huh.
I have seen a lot of people do really well with family. And even in my own family, I'm an only child, and both my parents are dead, and I do not live in the city where I was raised. But I am amazed at the interest my cousins have in my career.
Oh, what fun.
So I would offer that to authors. A lot of authors naturally turn to their family. I have an author who works a lot in Mexico. He lives in Austin, but he works a lot in Mexico. And he married a Mexican national. And that guy knows people from all over the world through his wife's family. And his wife's family, his wife is dead, but his wife's family is so crazy about him that they promote his work all over the world. They're brilliant. And they just do that. So I would just say never underestimate the power of family. They are more interested than you would think in what you're about. And if you have some notoriety, somehow your family feels like they share in that. And if you let them share in that, they'll be happier. They want to do it for you.
Oh, and that's very cool. Well, let me ask you this literally we're almost halfway in our show.
Oh, I can't believe we're almost through.
I know.
Hey, we had so many cool things to talk about.
Oh, no, we've got still lots of time here. So is there one single mistake that really hits an author in their pocketbook that they consistently seem to do?
There is, and this is a new one. It's buying reviews, purchasing reviews from the Big Five. The Big Five, somewhere along the way, and I'm talking about big review houses, standard review houses like Kirkus, Publishers Weekly, ALA, Forward, some of the big ones. Somewhere along the way, they decided they were going to start charging for reviews, and that authors would pay for these reviews because they wanted that moniker. And I'm talking about independently published authors who wanted to look like they were reviewed by Booklist, say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what happened recently, and it was under the radar, and a lot of people don't know about it. Amazon threw out all those reviews. They just took them off. So if you had a reader review on Amazon that was from one of the Big Five that you paid big bucks for, it's gone.
Oh, that's a killer. All right, we're going to hear a lot more with fabulous Stephanie Barko. I'm Judith Briles. You're listening to your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Do you need postcards that make a statement? How about business cards, flyers, brochures, or NCR forms? Tuvets is the solution for all your printing needs. Providing services specially designed for authors, we deliver exceptional quality colored printing. Most important of all, we specialize in reducing your printing costs. No more waiting. No more standing in lines at your local printer. Online proofing. With our pricing tools calculator, you can get instant quotes on all your printing products, as well as shipping rates all over the United States. Just a few clicks of the mouse and you're on the way to discovering how easy and convenient online color printing should be. Contact our friendly, human account representatives. We recognize that you want answers, not voice prompts. Visit our website at www.tu-vets.com or call 1-800-894-8977.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, we've had such a great conversation. All of a sudden, my producer, Wayne, says, "You are on the air. Get back." So here we are. And as always at this time of our hour, I am thrilled to bring on one of our sponsors live. And today we have Henry Ayala with Two Vets. And Two Vets is based in Los Angeles. But one of the things I love about Two Vets is their high quality. And what Henry has done for me is he's done a variety of printing, but he is always, I just wouldn't have anyone else do my postcard printing and my bookmark printing where we do our fancy dancy gadgets that we add to our bookmarks. But Henry, welcome.
Hi, Judith.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you very much. I was listening to that intro, and I really appreciate it. I ask all of your listeners there to please believe all the good stuff they hear about me and ignore the rest.
Henry rocks. All right. So, Henry, you wanted to talk about marketing with postcards today.
Yeah, that's right. Postcards are a real inexpensive way to get out information to your customers. I was listening to the guest that you have right now, and one of the things that she's talking about is preparing places where you're going with advanced information. One of the ways that you could do that obviously would be with postcards. You want to send a variety of information to your customers, internet contacts, but also the hard copy. It lends credibility a lot of times to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And so we promote the postcards quite heavily because they are a great way, an inexpensive way to mail. They're the least expensive way that you can mail pieces to your customers. And post office is coming up with all kinds of different ways to mail for less and less money. But one of the things that you can always do on the postcards is add a QR code, which makes your postcard now multiple duty, so that you can go ahead and link to a website or an order form or a video, anything like that. And it gives life to your postcards because now not only are they looking at the hard copy on the postcard, but they're looking at something that can link them directly to the internet with a smartphone.
Exactly, and in fact, Henry's coming to our extravaganza. So if you want to really brainstorm some strategies on what to do with marketing, Henry is just loaded with them, and he'll have some samples here.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And listen, Henry, what I do for all my authors I work with, and Henry's printed some of these cards, not only for myself, but for our clients and AuthorU members, is that we create a postcard, certainly with the book cover on the front, but on the back side, we do two different versions. One is really indicated towards the media, and we have pre-write something up, so it's out there. Make sure that you put your address, please, on there, contact information. We can turn. And then secondly, we would do one for speaking and letting people know we're coming to the area. So as Stephanie was saying early on, hey, if you're going to Hawaii and you want to stop off in Los Angeles a day and meet your friends in the crowd, you could let them know, I'm coming to Los Angeles this day. Let's get together, and you can mail it out to all your friends and bring the crowd. Henry can create that card to do that.
Absolutely. And Judith, I want to also mention that our postcards are awfully reasonably priced. You can buy 1,000 4x6 postcards for $100, but we're going to offer to anybody that mentions Judith to us when they call or email us, we'll give them a 25% discount off of any 4x6 full-color postcard. It'll be a tremendous deal and a good way to jumpstart getting into some other ways of marketing.
Exactly. Well, Henry, thank you so much. For our listeners, you can contact Henry directly at Henry at TUVETS, and it's TU-VETS.com. Get it right, Henry?
That's it. Thank you, Judith.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. We're back to Stephanie. And Stephanie, you want to know about Henry because they do really quality stuff.
Yeah, and another thing that I was listening to as you were mentioning Henry was his email address. So let's go ahead and put out my information so that people have that, and that's StephanieBarko.com. Stephanie is the traditional spelling, and then my last name is B like in boy, A-R-K-O. So StephanieBarko.com, and you'll get to my website. My blog is on the same link.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, so let's, I have to tell you, when we were offline, I went to the website that Stephanie was mentioned, the Preditors and Editors, and for our listeners, if you want to go check it out, it's PRED-ED.com. PRED-ED.com, and they have a really good laundry list on here, some general rules for spotting a scam publisher. This, if you will just go through this list, I'm telling you, dear listeners, it'll keep you out of deep doo-doo. And
that's a very good article. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some general rules for spotting a scam literary agency. Another great list. And if you've got any of these things, caution, red light, stay away. The hex sign is up. But
absolutely.
And it's really important. I've used this list. I got myself in kind of deep doo-doo at a conference a year ago where I mentioned some names in front of the group, and a couple of them happened to be friends of other panelists. And I said, I don't care. They're screwing people over, and you shouldn't be recommending them. So much for that. All right, so let's move along.
Well, we see it all, don't we, Judith? So we know.
Well, these are mistakes, and we were talking about extensive mistakes as we went to the bottom of the hour. So let's continue with that. What are some of these other mistakes that our indie authors are doing?
Okay, well, I mentioned reviews, that they're paying for reviews. Another thing that they just don't take seriously enough are their covers. And I have never understood this. Even if you are an accomplished artist, you need to hire an award-winning book designer to do your cover.
Oh, yes.
I'm talking about your front cover. That is a critical element to your book. Critical. And there is no excuse for not taking that cover very seriously and paying for it. You want to invest in your cover. Let's say you go to somebody who does a lot of stock covers, and the cover is included in your publishing contract. If you chose the publisher because you wanted their distribution package and you don't like their covers, don't use their cover designers. Go out and hire an independent designer who has a portfolio that you like and has a good reputation, that you've vetted on Preditors and Editors, you know they're trustworthy, and hire them to do your cover. Do it very early, get all your high-res art on it, and then pull your publicist in to help you with the back cover so that you have all the elements that should be on your back cover to help you sell the book further. Your front cover attracts your reader. Your back cover seals the deal.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the front cover says, "Come to me."
Come to me. It also says I'm a professional author with a professional cover, and I care about how my book looks.
Yeah, and one of the things, in fact, my opening column in this in the March issue that just went up of the resource, and all of you listening should go pick it up off of the authoru.org site. It's 40 frickin' pages this month, but as you pull it up, the opening column is about book pollution. One of the problems that the ease of electronic everything is created massive, crappy books and book pollution. The author that separates the author, Stephanie is so right on the mark. When you have a book cover and put the time and energy in that says, I care about my book and I care about reaching out to you, dear reader, it makes all the difference in the world.
You can actually win an award for your book just based on its cover. Mm-hmm. You want to win an award for your book based on your material, but you can also win one for your designer. Your designer can enter your book in further competitions, and you can win more accolades just on that basis. So it really pays to care about your cover and invest in it. And
even if, Stephanie, that's a great point. Even if you didn't win an award for your interior that you delivered, if that exterior wins it, you are still an award-winning book.
Author. Exactly.
Yeah.
Any accolade you get, you can use. Anything like that. And it draws people in. They want, I wonder what the art was. I wonder what was on the cover.
Exactly.
It makes readers curious.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What is, in working with a publicist, and you may want to add on which authors, should seek a publicist. You may have more things and which shouldn't. But what do they forget? Let's say someone's engaged you. What is the most common thing that they forget to request a publicist to do? Oh, we're coming back. We'll have to answer that, Stephanie, when we come back. So null over that. And we'll answer, what do you need to ask your publicist to do for you? I'm Judith Briles. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Writing and reading are moving to the cloud. WaveCloud represents a whole new community for writers and readers to connect, communicate, evaluate, and share. Writers hone their craft and build their business. Readers build their favorites. Sign up for updates at wavecloud.com.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, we're back. We're talking with publicist Stephanie Barko, and her website is Stephanie Barko, Barko.com. And we were just talking about what some of the things that authors forget to request their publicists to do for them. And what would be some of those, Stephanie?
One is something that authors forget to ask their publicist for, especially traditionally published authors. They just don't know to ask for these things. And the first thing I try to get from a traditionally published author that I'm working with is the lead publicist at the publisher's media list. A media list, if you are traditionally published, has been custom prepared for you by your lead publicist at the publisher. And you have every right to receive that. You want to get it as an electronic document. If you're working with an independent publicist, a freelance publicist like myself, you can also ask your freelance publicist for the media list that he or she has prepared for your book. You have a right to that. And that is, if you're a series author, this is golden because this gives you that publicist's cherished contacts.
Exactly, so you can follow up.
And you follow up. Judith has said the golden word, because when you get a media list from, especially if you're traditionally published, you'll know, for instance, where review copies have gone out and where a press release has gone out about your book. But guess what? They don't have the bandwidth to follow that up. So if you hire somebody like me, I'll go through that media list and call every single one of the listings on your media list, and I'll make sure they got the book. If they didn't get the book, well, I'll get the publisher to resend it. If they got it, I want to know if they're going to do a feature. Are you going to do a feature? Are you going to review? Did you throw the book out? Did you assign it? Is it still waiting to be assigned? What's going on? And let me tell you, that makes a difference.
It does. And also, if you just tap into what Henry at Two Vets was saying, if we've got these postcards, you sit there with your postcard and you do your smile and write thing and send it off to them and just say, look forward to working with you, look forward to being on your show, look forward to, being interviewed, fill in the blank here. But it's that continual repetition in your face that's so important during this time.
Right. The squeaky wheel gets...
Yeah, you get it. Yeah. Exactly. And people ask me, how did you get on Oprah? I called her. How did you get, I got a 4-page thing in People magazine. How'd you do that? I was persistent. And, Steve Jobs said that he felt the difference between successful entrepreneurs and non-successful was one word, perseverance. It's the same thing in this game, getting out there.
The other thing that Judith is talking about here, guys, is asking for what you want. There is a magic to asking for what you want, because you know what? Half the time you're going to get it. just because you ask for it. People are happy to make you happy. They want to fulfill your request. You'd be surprised how many times people say, yes, I'd love to buy your book, or yes, let's go to lunch and talk about how we can make things happen for you, how I can share my audience with you, how we can collaborate and be better together.
Mm-hmm. And
they want to make you successful.
Exactly. And here's another idea. I'm in Columbia, Missouri, a couple of days next week, and I did a Google Hangout with the NBC TV station, and we were all on, and they brought me in on the camera. It's very cool. Another way to play the game.
Yes.
Another way. All right, so let me ask you this. What's your concept of a live author event that rocks, that's really worth doing?
It's one where you walk into a built-in following. It's one where you have no concern about whether people are going to show up, because you don't have to pull an audience in. It's already there for you. Now, where does that exist? It exists in several places. One are big events like Agents and Editors Conference. If you have a skill, if you have a book that has sold, you can talk about that skill. Or if you are very good at editing your own work, you can talk about that at an Agents and Editors Conference. And then they'll all want to buy your book.
Yep, exactly.
Right, because they think they see that you're a best-selling author, or you're a very skilled marketer, or you're a very skilled writer, and they want your material. They want to study how you did that. The other thing you can do is go to great big book fairs. Go to the top 10 in the nation and try to get in as a featured author. It's not easy. You have to start early. You have to have a really fantastic press kit. But you can do it. You need to start trying. And, some of the top 10 would be like in New York, or the Texas Book Festival is very good. There are some really good ones along the East Coast and the Carolinas. There's some really big ones on the West Coast. But you have to work at it to get in. And you have to know who to send your material to. You have to schmooze some. It might take you a few years, but you can eventually get in. And, there's thousands of people. When I go to the Texas Book Festival, it is thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Even in the breakout rooms, hundreds and hundreds of people crushed in to hear an author speak.
But let me ask you about this. Before, in our last few minutes, I'd like to ask some marketing questions, if we can. What's, number one, the hottest trend that's going on in book marketing today? And secondly, what's someone like you cost? What's a marketing campaign cost when we bring it into play?
Well, I think all the online tours are really hot. They're getting very sophisticated. You have these satellite tours, and you have these, quote, event virtual tours. They're getting very, very sophisticated. And the other thing people want to know is what it costs to do a full campaign. Gosh, it varies a great deal. It depends on who you hire, how much you contract for, whether there's advertising in it, whether there's media training in it, whether you're trying to get on TV. That's the most expensive. But I would say that, like, for someone like me, I can do a full campaign for $5,000.
Okay, I'm gonna say this, which some people may not like, since I have done all of them, and the radio, TV, the print, the internet, all that. That if I was to choose one to ignore and not put energy in, it would be TV. And just most people are now picking up their news online and doing that things. I would put my energy into online time and radio, which has always been one of my favorite because you can play and you often have more time on the radio.
I love it. I love radio and I love online. I'm exactly the same as you feel I am, Judith, because with radio, you can be anybody you want. All you need is a good voice. You don't have to look great. You don't have to go through media training. You need to have your talking points together. And you might want to work with somebody like me or Judith to get that together. You need to know your material very well and your subject and your issues very well. And you need to relate those to what's going on in the world. But other than that, those are really good ways to go, I would say.
All right. And then is there, Stephanie, you've been doing this for a long time. Is there a particular time that is better to release a book than others to try to get the to get the attention that we're talking about getting?
Yes, unless you have a specific holiday book that you want to release in December, I really think it's better to release at the beginning of the year because of the award cycle. If you're going after any kind of book award or accolade, it's just easier to apply for those. You have more time. You can work on them better if you release in January. Also, there's just a spate of books that comes out. So many books come out in the fall. And why do you want to compete with that? Especially if you're independently published. You don't want to get in that big push that goes out. I think it's better to release early in the year. It gives you a much better award cycle, and it's just easier. You have more time.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess that what would you say is the hottest trend besides, we talked about what's hot in marketing, but so you think it's the internet and using the online services?
Yeah, but specifically these online tours, there's so many different kinds, and they're getting very sophisticated now. And I really think if you're a nonfiction author, you have to pay very close attention to your keywords, and people just, they don't anymore. They don't work at the technical angle of it all, and it's very important to do that. I have doubled and tripled my feedback, my prospects from LinkedIn, my prospective clients from LinkedIn, just by working with keywords there.
Perfect. And we'll do a whole session on keywords. Stephanie, we're going to wrap up here.
Okay.
How, again, one more time, can people get a hold of you?
My website is StephanieBarko.com. STEPHANIE, B like in boy, ARKO.com.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next week, we've got John Kramer, the guru of marketing, and we're going to talk about super book blog tours. Join me. I'm Judith Briles, your guide to book publishing.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.